And I'm started recording. Cool. All right, welcome back welcome back everyone to the latest GGHL podcast. We're going to go through a quick um, playoff preview slash sort of review for the first two or three games of the Eastern and Western Conference quarterfinals. And we're going to go through the West first. So Calgary versus Chicago. Misty, since you're in the chat and you are currently in the session, how do you feel about this current 1v8 session?
Chicago should not be here, and they're being dumpstered as they should be.
That seems very fair. Currently, they're 86 points in 82 games, so minus 30 goal differential. And let me check what I have for them on the team stats. Chicago, I have them overall as a 33 percentile in overall rating with sub 500 offense and defensive ratings. So, how did you get here, and what do you expect of them besides getting swept?
My team got here because the West seems to be shit, and I expected nothing from this team, and it did something.
You expect nothing from this team.
I'm giving my head coach a raise.
Giving your head coach. Who's your head coach?
I have no idea.
Even better. All right, let me check a look at that personnel. You have Reed Cashman, which not only is an A plus name, but like attribute wise is pretty solid. I wish his coach descriptions were a bit better, like via tactics and line matching. But like attribute wise, seems pretty solid at least.
He's making this team win games, which is a miracle.
That's fair.
Not in the playoff.
Not in the playoffs, though, right? Like, but at the same point, you are facing a 120 plus point team, Calgary Flames here. I think they won the President's Trophy this year, right? Oh yeah, they
They
did
sure
win the
did.
President's
Yep.
Trophy.
Yeah.
61 win team, President's Trophy, Calgary Flames. Like, do we expect the Calgary Flames to make the playoff? Not to make the playoffs, but to make the Western Conference Finals and make the Stanley Cup Finals, or like do we expect them to flame out before that?
I mean,
see the puns.
Me in the pod.
they're I think they slated to would be Dallas, Nashville would be their actually who would be their second round matchup.
They
I'm looking
are
past
a
because
Pacific Division team, right?
currently it's 2-0. Chicago won the second game 10-1, and is basically destroying them in every way possible.
They are
so
set to match against the winner of San Jose Anaheim. And San Jose, according to my advanced analytics, quote unquote, is the best team in the league. Whether or not that necessarily means anything is different, simply because I feel like I value shooting percentages less than I probably should. But San Jose versus Calgary is the probable second round matchup, unless Anaheim pulls out an upset here.
Chicago in 7.
Yeah, and obviously, like teams load up in the like at the deadline.
Right.
In this case, like Anaheim did load up at the deadline, and I mean they've taken one game. I don't. We're not necessarily moving on to the series yet. So, but I mean, I think Calgary doesn't have an easy road there. They have a really good team, but San Jose is still the team to beat in the West, probably.
That's fair. San Jose, Calgary. Sorry, go for it, Mark.
Decker and Vigneault, which pretty good. Vigneault has always been a beast. So far, he has 1 goal in 2 games. The kind of piece that like makes you win the playoff, in my opinion.
Vino went for just a second and a
Vino,
third,
yeah.
and Vino has a pretty sick AVR in the regular season with the Flames, and a even sicker AVR in the playoffs. Granted, it's only 2 games, but
And it's against Chicago.
yeah. I'm sorry, Misty, but not. I don't want to say you get swept simply because that's kind of getting swept, but I don't know, 5 maybe, like the gentleman's sweep.
No, it's going to be 4.
You think it's gonna be
Nah.
4?
He'll make sure it's 4.
You'll make sure it's
Go
4.
If you want to know why, go check Team News.
Go check Team News. What's going on in Team News here, Misty?
Weird lines.
Oh boy.
What it says
Your
for me,
Ricard,
for
yeah,
you here, Misty.
Racing.
Sorry, go for it, Mark.
Hello. All I see is a winner. That's, right?
Fair.
No, you see 2 right wingers playing defense. That's what you see.
Oh.
I mean, I don't even know those names. So don't even recognize Shindo, Hook. Who are these guys?
That's my point.
That's a very fair point.
Chicago's winning in 4. End of story.
Chicago's winning in 4 is kind of a little past that point, but I could totally see Calgary winning in 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's my bad. Calgary's winning in 4.
Calgary's winning in 4. Okay. Do we think Calgary makes it to the Western? Through the Western Conference Final? Is Calgary a Stanley Cup Final pick, as in coming out of the West, or no?
I think that you could definitely get away with saying they are one of the. They are probably the favorite to make it out of the West. They need to make sure they get consistency from their goaltending.
Lopez specifically is currently the starter.
Yeah, they got a decent amount from him this year in the regular season. It seems like he kind of flip-flops between good and bad years. So hopefully he can keep up this good year. And that will massively help them.
I mean, I think it's pretty close, Calgary and San Jose. I would give Calgary the edge just because I feel like San Jose's lineup is such that if they have like a bad injury, they're kind of screwed at center. Like especially, but they're pretty like the lineup has become kind of thin. They're being forced to play some less than optimal fourth line players. I just think that there's not, it's not the greatest situation. Like, you want to have your team be really tight at the end, going for a cup, but it's just not there. So I think Calgary has a better depth, and I think Calgary can take them, and all it will take was like one injury to like kind of sink San Jose, sadly.
Yeah, a big key injury to the Sharks would be pretty crucial. But speaking of, let's go to the Quackers with the Sharks. Currently, the Quackers with the Sharks is a 2-1 in favor of the Sharks. How do we feel again? How do we feel for the Ducks? Is there any chance the Ducks pull this out?
Personally, I doubt it. Just because I don't think Vironen is ready. So far, he has 876 in 3 games.
That's not good, right? Is that good?
Yes, it's that good.
I mean, but a lot of it, they scored 10 in the one game, right? The first 2 games,
that's true.
and I'm actually like they got unlucky to lose in overtime in game 2, and then that kind of seems to have swung momentum in the Sharks' favor with a big 10-4 game 3 win, in which they dominated. But yeah, so far the no, not the home team, the road team. Is that right? Who's the home team here?
Currently, the
Sharks.
San Jose Sharks
Yeah,
are the
San
home
Jose.
team.
Okay.
No, the Ducks. Are the
So
home team going
San
into
Jose, yeah, the home team has been dominating the like. Is that right?
home team is
Weird.
home team is 2-1.
The Ducks lost
Wait,
Oh
10-4.
right.
no, it's
Yes,
one
yes.
and
But in terms of like who like SAP Center, that's in Anaheim. God, I'm sort of
S&P
turned
Center
around
is
here.
in San Jose. The Ducks
Okay.
Arena is the Honda Center.
Right. So Anaheim outplayed San Jose in San Jose, and then now San Jose has outplayed Anaheim in Anaheim. So it's been the road team that's kind of been carrying play by like in all three games.
What was the
That's
score in the
interesting.
game? Oh yeah, shit, you're right. I mean, the Ducks outperformed the Sharks in both the games out at the in San Jose,
Yeah.
but they only got 1-1 split. But a 10-4 win in the Honda Center is pretty
Yeah.
I
right.
still think there's comeback for the Devils or for the Ducks, mainly just because they haven't had Rudy Moran all series. He's supposed to be back shortly, maybe even for next game.
Yeah,
Get,
Maybe
it's
that.
very
get
true.
Rudy Morant into the series can be pivotal to this team.
Yeah, I think the Ducks have a very solid center core, especially with Patrick Potter, and Rudy Morant just gives them more depth there. So
Right.
it really seems like a
I'm
matter of if the
surprised
goaltending can hold it
he
together.
hasn't used him. I'm surprised he didn't use him like because I think Morant was day to day, but like could have played in all of these games. But I guess um, he held them out of game one and they won, and then those two games were back to back. So
So
like
Right.
they
that's
didn't get to
unfortunate.
neither team got to change lineups. So
Morant
now we're
Sucks.
just yeah
condition wise, Morant is currently at a 90%. So
yeah
that's probably when you want to start a player when they're coming back from injury. But even so, a 2-1 without having a, I don't want to say elite, but like second tier center is pretty solid. Especially a center that did point with the Ducks have 18 points in 24 games, 7.63 AVR. Missing that is a
Still
pretty
good.
yeah
crucial miss, right?
yeah. I think Morant was actually at 90% coming into the playoffs, so
Oh, was
he
he?
could have played him. Yeah, but
Shit.
anyway, so yeah, I mean he's gonna want to get him in now. I mean I don't know that
Yeah.
either Angus or Jordan knew that they were like gonna play back-to-back games, game two, game three, without being able to set their lineup again. So that may not have been the plan to like have him out 3 games of the series. That being said, they could come back to, like Anaheim could tie this up easily, and then who knows? Um, so I don't know. It's a good series. Uh, I think the Anaheim has the centers to counter or to like give them a good go, and like Potter is like probably like one of the optimal centers that you want to have on your team if you're facing two centers as good as Rowdiella and Chambers. So yeah,
Yeah, you
good
could do a lot worse
couple
than
of good teams.
Potter, Morant, Sumola as your 1, 2, 3. Jordan has um, provided a solid 1, 2, 3 center depth.
I
Yeah,
just think that.
Potter has. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's alright. I just think that Ducks got unlucky matching with San Jose. Like, if they draw another team, I think they could go farther. But yeah, I don't know. Like the Sharks has Porkinen in net, and their centers are as good, if not better, than the Ducks. So I don't see it. I don't think it'll be easy, but the Sharks are just better in my eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
currently
definitely.
Varanen has a 4.11 goals against average and an 876 save percentage in the playoffs. Even in the regular season, he was only a 902, which isn't necessarily the best, to say the least. I would give
He
this
played
advantage
a
to the
good, yeah,
Sharks.
yeah, yeah.
You're finally here, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they got
We
to
can complain about
win.
that.
Even better, they did
yeah.
get
It
a
was
win.
their first playoff win in GGHL history, right?
It
That's
only
something.
took
That's so
like I
funny.
don't know, 19 years for that to happen, but like they did it after 19 years.
Probably a little
And
too long for that to take, but
Right. The
So the first
next,
playoff was 2022, right? So like that's we're 2039, so we're about 18 seasons basically. Yeah.
but the Ducks missed the playoffs before that, right? So it might have been even longer.
Right. 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 Good point.
it's true.
All right, the Stars versus the Predators. How do we feel about this one?
Oh man.
See. So Nashville squeaked out as like I didn't really think I don't think Dallas has the best team, but they have Milmore.
Right.
And I don't really think Nashville had much of a shot at beating Millmore. Um, but anyway, Nashville squeaked out a 2-1 game after losing game one. So like I don't know, they're in it. They're good for them. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I think that Millmore will carry this series as he has most of the like his in the last couple of years. He will take them as far as the roster will let them go.
Yeah, I agree with that. For having experiencing Leo Gay hockey, Leo Gui, he's highly inconsistent. So right now he's doing pretty good, 922. Yeah, you'll have some terrible games in there. So I don't know if he can
Right.
still play good. Uh, Maybe they have a shot, but I think the Dallas roster is better than Nashville.
I
Was
mean,
there
they lost O'Brien obviously, so that's tough. I
Yes.
mean, they had a good D, but like they this is not what they had in mind for their playoff roster.
They also did lose Zemer on waivers as well. Um,
Right.
There's legend. Waivers legend.
waivers Levens, Cohen, Zemer, and Luke McDermott, and what was the other McDermott that the
Raphael.
Raphael.
Raphael McDermott on D.
Zemer did play for in game two for Dallas.
All right, cool. We'll add Wiggles on that to make sure he doesn't play for Game 3. Then I suppose, but yeah, Zemer's not ineligible for the playoffs, even though that was their big trade deadline ad, which is
Alfano
super
was the
unfortunate. Oh yeah, Alfano is a big ad, but yeah, Zemer is I guess was a secondary ad then.
Zemer. Yeah, I think. I mean, wait, when was that trade, Mark? It was like some mid-season sometime, right? To get Zemer.
Yeah, it was like 50 game in. So like
January
Okay. Okay.
29th, so
So
like
close
about a
then.
you
month before the
Okay.
deadline.
yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was like closer to like December or November, but yeah. I mean, yeah, these are. Yeah, I mean, between losing Zemer and O'Brien, like, yeah, that's two big hits to a roster that probably was like struggling to keep
Yeah.
up with the best teams in the West. So I think it's tough. Like I know there were like both Zemer O'Brien were players that were on the table when in the discussions for Alfano deal, but like that like it sounds like the cap relief that was like should have happened then, it didn't, and it's kind of screwed them here a little bit.
Yeah, so I think what happened is Curry was on 24 days IR and he didn't take that into
Oh yeah,
account. So that's 3 million that, that was extra. So
right.
when he came back,
That makes
everything fell
sense.
apart.
I mean, it is difficult to quite get your head around like the um, when you have like some people on long-term IR, what it's going to look like when they come back and stuff. It's not
Yeah.
it's not the easiest calculations to make. Sometimes you're hoping or guessing, but yeah, it didn't go well here.
Was that the same issue that Grum was talking about, where like a guy will go on LTIR and the AGM will take him off?
I mean, it's a different
Yes and
issue. I
no.
mean, I think like yeah. I mean, the issue like with it's more about like forecasting what your cap is going to look like when guys come back, which is like it's not the simplest calculation to make. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
earn a lot of I mean, like I've been in situations I think where like at the deadline I had like a couple of good players on like maybe month injuries, like big contracts, and then and in my like in the finances section, it basically shows me with like $24 million worth of cap space, but it's just like I don't know, it's hard to know what of that you can actually use and what is gonna like as soon as they come back is going to be forfeited or no longer there. So I don't know. It's a tough. Like it's. I mean, I kind of have my way of how I do it, but it's not. It's like it's kind of like who knows if it's exactly what. It's hard to like get your head around exactly how the game calculates this stuff. Yeah,
All right.
I mean the other issue that was Grum was talking about is like basically if you try to abuse the long-term IR by like just throwing a player who isn't going to be out for that long onto the LTIR so you can get some cap relief, it uh, in some cases the AGM will just pull them right back off, and then so whatever you had put like planned for like the players you had chose to keep up, it doesn't work because the AGM, unbeknownst to you, has pulled that guy off of LTIR. It's a weird one.
I think we need a finance staff in the next EHM update. Avoid all this.
So, who do we feel is going to
I
pull
think
out of this Western Conference quarterfinal series? The Stars or the Predators?
I would take the Stars.
yeah, I
They
still
have a better
favor
roster.
the Stars will take this one. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
Solid.
Milmore still Milmore.
Mil-
Millmore is still
yeah,
Millmore.
Milmore. I mean, 935, 920 save percentage in game one and game two. So he's not. It's not because he's struggling. So
Is
I
that
think
good?
that'll
I don't
decide
I don't know. Is that good?
Is that good?
it. He's good.
And the computer boys
Guy's
tell
good.
me if that's good.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, I think that this is probably what the worst season that Millmore is having in Dallas. Is that fair to say? Not to make it sound
Not to
awful,
be
but
over
like,
dramatic,
oh
but yeah.
yeah. Oh, actually,
Mm,
his first season in Dallas was not like it was 918. It was the next two where he was like basically just like
Oh
the
no,
not
he only
unanimous
posted a
MVP.
90. Oh no, he only posted a 918 where league average is like
Yeah,
like 901.
yeah,
Oh no, how
well,
terrible. What a
yeah.
bum. He should trade him. Right.
Is he in lead for Vesna this year? I think
Still
Vesna's
haven't
pretty
nominated.
competitive.
He
Oh, he
might
didn't
have
get nominated. Wow.
he might
I
have
think
been
Brown
in
was
There were
like
ahead
4
of.
good
yeah.
candidates. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty tight this year. Some good goalies.
Yeah. And to me, I had him up there. I think I excluded Lopez out of those 4. Poikinen, I had Poikinen, Dubois, and Milmore for Vesna. But I mean, any of those 4 were good candidates for Vesna, and I don't actually think it's clear who. I mean, actually, Dubois is like way out ahead now, but I don't think it was necessarily clear who would have won it.
Yeah.
Probably Dubois getting a lot of he's on the weakest team and he carried them basically to the
Yeah.
playoffs. So that's what he's being rewarded for.
That's fair. So so
Um,
we all taking Dallas in this series?
Yeah.
We should
I'd
talk
pick
Seems
about
like it,
Nashville acquisition.
yeah. Nashville. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, they added Jordan. Uh, we had pretty good end of the season, 12 points in 18 games. Um, yeah, and Jared Condon. I don't know who that guy is.
That's a
Um,
Montreal Canadiens legend there that I went through waivers like 5 times.
oh, I'm sorry. Did you draft him?
I did draft him. Yeah, like a
So,
like
see,
a third round. I want to say. Yeah, look at that third round. Like he
see,
was,
a good
you
draft for
know,
him.
decent little third round pick, I suppose. But like he's not a needle mover, I suppose.
Yeah, he's decent.
Decent, but yeah, not a needle mover.
Yeah,
All right, so we're all taking Dallas in this series. I mean,
yeah.
like that sounds about right. All right,
Sorry,
Winnipeg versus
sorry,
I'll,
man.
what was up? You want to have a last minute in there,
I was just
Os?
gonna say, sorry.
You want to have a last minute in there, Os? Go for it.
No, I just felt like I wanted to say that, Colton seems to be being I don't know his history in EHM or EHM online, but he seems to be doing a good job of slowly making the team a little bit better.
Mm,
So I think he's not really made it gone for huge moves so far, but he made the playoffs and uh,
yeah.
congrats on that, I guess.
Jean-Michel Allard had 49 points this season, so there you go. First round pick.
And led by Matthias Lafitte.
Hey, Montreal Canadiens legend Matthias Lafitte, Stanley
There
Cup,
you go.
Stanley Cup game-winning goal, Matthias Lafitte. All right.
Yeah, I mean they need a little bit more at center is the problem, I think. But yeah, next series.
Next series is Moose Minnesota Wild currently down in an 0-2 hole against the Winnipeg Jets, led by Joe as well, right?
Yes.
Currently, it's kind of rough to bet on Moo here, but Walston's had a couple rough games for the Wild. But besides that, I would have picked the Wild to coming out of this series before that. But
I
since
mean,
they
it
are
was a,
they are down 2-0, I'm gonna pick the Jets, right?
they were voted 16-5 to win the series, so pretty
Ouch.
big majority thought that they would beat the Jets. So far, it's not going so well.
Pretty rough.
Gagan's playing
I
backup
mean
too.
Lambert, yeah, uh, yeah. Lambert had a hat trick in game 1, and I mean it seems to
Oh,
be the
Lambert.
classic thing with the Jets where they have pretty strong centers and
Yes.
they're playing well and so far in this series. So right now Moo's not been getting a lot from his centers. He's got Tegan DeRoche playing first line center, who I don't think that was necessarily the plan coming into the season.
Probably not. I mean, Jack Hughes kind of fell off. He's at
Hmm.
he's still at 13 speed, but it was like 17 like a season ago or two. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, he still had a good season, but I don't know.
Five point
Maybe
five AVR in the playoffs so far.
is that good?
I don't
Wallstead
think
has
so.
a 4. Had got pulled in one game, and did he get pulled in both? He did not. He actually played pretty decent in game two, um, but a bad game one.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
Tataryn,
Yeah, I mean,
Pethris, Hughes, all are 0 points and negative plus
ish.
minus players. Which I understand it's 2 games, but that is two very important games.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think
Go ahead.
Winnipeg is a great matchup. I mean, Minnesota is a bad matchup for Winnipeg. Their centers are just way better than theirs, and it shows in 2 games. You have Lambert, Marchev. I forgot
I
who the
mean,
other is,
the
but yeah,
the other thing is like there's a lot of forwards on Minnesota who are like offense only guys, or like haven't really developed defensively yet, and it's just it's not a big deal to have a couple of those guys, but they have a lot of forwards that are kind of like pretty weak defensively, and still like trying to figure things out in the NHL. So I think that's a tough one. Like
mm.
they're just yeah, a lot of youth still.
It's
Yeah, they just need to grow.
it's pretty rough when Bolduc is your best forward in the playoffs, and like he has a 16-11
Yeah.
shot as a goal scoring center. That's pretty rough. I mean, not sorry, Moo, but like I got I should have chosen the Jets going into the playoff series. Um,
I'm not. I'm not sorry, Moo. Your team sucks.
you
I'm just kidding.
like I don't hate the Luno Bolduc move simply because
Yeah.
those are legitimately your best defenseman and best forward in the playoffs so far. It has only been 2 games, but um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could turn it around.
he could turn it
It's not over
around.
though.
Not necessarily reverse sweep, but as closest to reverse sweep as you can possibly get.
It maybe is kind of like tells like we were talking about how Chicago was able to make the playoffs despite not really trying to in the West. Like a team that is just sort of good enough to beat the like shitty teams in the West is like can bring up a lot of wins, but like the playoffs are a different story where you're playing a good team every night. Um,
Yes.
so I mean, it feels like that's a little bit what's happening to Minnesota right now. Is they're like it's not they put up what 50 wins in the regular season, and now they're playing a decent team every night, and it's not really. I mean, it's game two, so can't don't want to be over. Make a sweeping generalization, but like it kind of seems like they're having trouble with this sort of more a team with more substance to them.
Yeah, they're still young. Um, they're their centers. Well, they have Gidlun, who had a good year. I mean, 35 points, 77 game. So it'll grow, and that should help in the future with the center core.
I kind of feel like maybe this is the point where like Minnesota, it's like they got to move to the next phase of the rebuild where they like just have
Yes.
like like that they were growing. There's a lot of their good young players growing, and now it's kind of like okay, now we got to like learn to win and have to like fill out this roster, not just with like young players who are growing, but with some more winners, and guys who fit fit in trying to like have the toughest team to beat in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it kind of tried that with Jack Hughes and the last trade, and Bulldog. I guess I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if Bulldog did
Mm-hmm.
they ever did anything, but I guess this didn't work out yet. So I don't know. Just keep trying.
Yeah.
All right, so we went through all 8 teams of the West here. Who do we feel should be the team to come out of the West so far? Is it the Flames? Is it the Sharks? I feel like those are probably the biggest two. The thing is, those two face each other likely,
Mm-hmm.
knock on wood, in the next round, right? So, do we feel like how do we feel about the Central Division here? Who comes out in the
Yeah.
Central Division for the Western Conference Final to face either the Flames or Sharks?
Could
I
be
mean, it's hard
anyone.
to say no to Dallas. Like they made it to the yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be. I just think I would give it to Mill. I give the edge to Millmore and the Dallas team that plays in front of him. Um, like they went to the Western Conference Finals last year, I think, and then they were in the finals the year before.
Yes.
So I don't know that I don't have any reason to doubt that they can't at least make it to the Western Conference Final.
All
I
right.
think
Oh, go
I
for it,
think
Mark.
sorry. I think Winnipeg will be a real test with their center core. Well, they proved in the past that more like doesn't matter which sheet you have, he's gonna win. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think Dallas. I should go to the Western Conference Final, and I'll say Calgary. Just Calgary. Yeah.
Yeah,
You think Dallas,
that's how
Calgary,
I feel too.
SCF?
Yes.
Honestly, I believe in the San Jose Sharks more than the Calgary Flames, but I mean, it could go either way between the Sharks and the Flames.
Oh, of course. I expect a long series between those two.
I would not be surprised to see Dallas in the Stanley Cup final, just because Calgary and San Jose have to play each other, and Dallas seems like they have the easiest path to the conference final. So they might
Yeah.
just be sitting there chilling
Hmm.
while
No
Calgary and
more
San Jose beat
just
each other up.
stopping
I
everything.
feel like San Jose always has like an injury in the playoffs that like kind of ruins their momentum or kind of messes them up or like at a bad time where they're already kind of like being pushed to their limit and then they get an injury and it's kind of like okay, like I don't know, I just feel like this could easily you know just have something like that go wrong for them. So but yeah, I think I don't know. I'm a big believer in Calgary. I think he's put together a really good team, and like they don't really have a big weakness for me. So I think I think they're going to be in the final.
All right. I guess with that, unless anyone has any last minute suggestions on the Western Conference,
They're all gonna lose, and Chicago will be in the finals.
Chicago
Yeah,
Finals. Let's
let's hope
go.
that.
All right. So I guess we'll shift over to the Eastern Conference here. With the Eastern Conference, we start with the Buffalo Sabres versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Surprisingly, a 1-1 series currently, I feel, right?
Yeah, I mean
Well,
Buffalo outplayed Columbus pretty significantly in game one and lost in overtime. Uh, so and then they had their way in game two. So I mean, I think just a small blip, but I think Buffalo should win this series.
That was a double overtime game, actually, in game one.
Yeah,
oh,
true. I mean, the one thing that Grum is kind of like having to figure out here is who is his real like most reliable goalie at this point, between Shekel and Brackett.
personally, I feel like it's got to be Shishel simply because Shishel was the goalie that won him the cup last season, and like he doesn't
Mhm.
seem like
Mhm.
he's terribly different than last year. But I understand, like it looks like he's played bracket in the first 2 games, both of them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Bracket had a good game
you
too.
know. Yeah. I think he's kind of like I like Grum doesn't love him likes him, but like in respects that he won it last year, but knows he won the cup not having played amazing hockey, and so he's kind of like looking for more, hoping for more from bracket, but um yeah, it's he hasn't really had to make that decision yet to go back to Chico. But it could happen. I mean, you kind of had to you go like Drew. You always had kind of like often two like dueling goalies in the playoffs, even though like Kirkby, you know, has been really good, and but like there often seem to be a little like a goalie good enough to like push him for time if he wasn't like really on the like on the ball. So I don't know, like what do you feel like? Did you feel like you learned anything from like trying to juggle goalies in the playoffs?
I will talk about Kirkby when it comes to my series against the Lightning, but whenever Kirkby's been healthy in the playoffs, I've run with Kirkby simply because he's been so sick in the playoffs. Like he runs like a
Mm-hmm.
930, I want to say, is a career average in the playoffs.
Don't
Um,
remind me.
sorry, Mark. I'm sorry about that.
My
Um,
bad.
but like I looked at Shichel's numbers a moment ago. He only ran a 912 last year in the playoffs. So like it wasn't
Right.
because of the Austrian Alps goaltender. Um, but at
And
the same
912 for
point,
Grum is terrible.
right, 912 for Gum is terrible. But at the same time, he doesn't really need to figure it out until the next round because I feel like we all assume the Sabres make it past to the Jackets here, right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's also like this like the the Sabres set the record by. I mean, how many did he beat your old record by?
Nine goals.
Drew,
Nine
like it
goals.
was
Yeah, 9 goals.
okay. I thought it was actually a bigger deficit than that, like 20 or something. But anyway, obviously this is a high scoring team. Like, it's not as consequential whether your goalie is just like a little bit better. And I also think like I've seen this happen where like a goalie can be good through the whole playoffs, and then like, you know, one series where like a couple of high scoring games can really sink those numbers back to normal. So like I don't know what the case is, but like I could definitely see like if those numbers for Sheik will maybe look a little bit misleading for how well he played for most of the playoffs. Like I just seen that happen to goalies in the playoffs.
I could see that in like my the quote unquote advanced analytics, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
Didn't have the Sabres as the best team in the league. It actually had the Sharks as the best team in the league,
Yeah.
and that's because the Sabres rode a high shooting percentage. Whether or not that's actually sustainable or not is
Hmm.
different, but like simply because it only measures shots and not necessarily shooting percentage. But the Sabres did have a really high shooting percentage, so I wouldn't be I say the Sabres are the slam dunk pick out of the East. I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but they are definitely a contender coming out of the East. They are, as we said, they are the best, goal scoring team in the league in GGHL history, to say the least. Scheichel slash bracket do give me a slight concern, but if I was the general manager of the Sabres, but uh, I wouldn't be. It's not a
Yeah.
slam dunk, even though they are the record holding goal scoring team of the league. it's not a slam dunk Stanley Cup pick to have the Sabres win.
I agree, and I think it is like a little bit concerning to like have a lack of clarity of who's going to be your starter. I mean, I think there's something nice about just like knowing, okay, this is my guy, and like you're not just like always having to second guess. Should I put this guy in? Should I put this guy in? Um, I don't know. I agree with you that I don't think Buffalo is the shoe in. Just that like the like their goaltending doesn't necessarily need to be the most elite goaltending in the league when they're scoring at the rate they have.
The thing is, they haven't scored at the rate they did in the regular season. They have
It's
in the
probably a good problem
playoffs.
to have too.
Go for it.
I mean, because that's
AC.
two solid goalies, and you're already
Right.
in the playoffs. So I feel like they could be in a lot worse of a spot. They're already coming off a cup, so they already know like they have a winning goalie.
Very true, but they're not
I
playing
mean,
the winning goalie, right?
could be worse. Could have Weston West and goal.
Weston West, GGHL legend.
He's gonna have to take him off Chicago.
But yeah, we all
Yeah.
anticipate the Sabres to beat
I
the
think
Jackets.
Buffalo,
Go
like,
for it.
they, like, I'm not worried about them. They should be pretty good. Columbus is the good team, but yeah, Buffalo just that much better. Um, they're
We
probably going back to the
all
finals.
anticipate the Sabres to steamroll the Jackets here, right? Like, I understand it can't be a sweep anymore. Oh, shit. I was talking. I'm sorry, I was talking and I was muted. Um, we all anticipate the Sabres to steamroll the Jackets here. I mean, I understand it can't necessarily be a sweep, but like gentleman sweep 5, maybe 6, I guess, if the Jackets pull out a Hammerla type of special. But the Sabres are probably gonna pull out 1v8 seed here, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see it. Armla is retiring too, so it'll be interesting next year for the jacket. What are you gonna do? Have some good pieces.
It's also a new GM who doesn't. I don't know how well he knows the team, or like don't know anything about this new GM. So it's a tough position to be thrown into. Like he won game one, but like it's not going to be an easy like entry into the league to just like jump into a playoff series with the defending champions.
Hey, good luck.
Something. Sorry, go for it, Mike.
That's so good. You go ahead.
Something I just noticed about Hammy is that he was sub 900 in the regular season. I don't know why, because his agility and like his technicals are pretty solid still, but like he was sub 900.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's because goalies are voodoo, because goalies are voodoo, but
Yeah, I mean that's accurate. That is true to life.
but yeah, sub 900 out of your starter that is being paid $10.3 million
Just
is
wants to retire.
right, right.
Yeah, he's done.
All right.
I mean, he's playing Columbus.
He is playing in Columbus. Who
Just
wants to play in Columbus? All right, next series. Next series. I did. Okay, cool. Next series. Myself versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Excuse me. Currently I'm up 2-0 on the Lightning, but I feel like the series has probably been a little bit closer than the 2-0 series indicates. Simply because game one was all special teams and an empty netter, and game two was a Kirkby show, even though the shot share was relatively even. How do we feel about Montreal Tampa Bay series?
yeah, I mean,
I mean, I do think. Go ahead, Mark.
Tampa Bay had some. Yeah, Tampa Bay had some bad injuries so far. Bevino, he's out for 4 months. That sucks. Scott Roof also out for a week. He still hasn't played yet in the playoff. And Askarov is exhausted, which apparently doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I think Askarov is a bad playoff goalie. Having seen it firsthand, I I think I think he's overrated.
Ye-
The last season
Yeah,
Askarov had an 8 AVR or plus. I understand that's a really high bar, but you need a really high bar if you want to win the Stanley Cup. The last season Askarov had an 8 AVR was the 2030-2031 season with the Nashville Predators, which is almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's terrible, like, but he's never been good enough to beat a team by himself. Uh, like he's always playing 9-10, 9-15, which is decent, but in the playoff you need more, and he never stepped up to do it, which is
he's
sad.
probably pretty tired of the Bell Center.
Gets this show run.
uh,
It gets this show run
uh,
every year, except for the
every year.
Yeah,
every year.
I
But
mean, I think Tampa is, they've done a good job of putting together like a good team, but I still think that they're like the the centers on this team are, while they're like not bad, they're always like kind of just a little bit lower caliber than the like some of the better centers in the league, and they get the job done in the regular season. But I don't know that if they can beat the best centers, like a team with really good centers, um, when when they face those better teams. So yeah, and just like I feel like a little bit like other than their first line and like a couple like Ride and Stenman and RS, like I think it kind of like drops off a lot, the caliber of player that they have after that. So I mean, I just have trouble like seeing this team beating Montreal. Too much experience in the playoffs, like too strong. Like no, don't doesn't have the weaknesses to exploit. Like they would need something to go drastically their way, like an injury, to like some injury or something like to Kirkby or something like that for it to like change their luck. If you ask me.
um,
Drew, what do you think?
I honestly would agree with Chris there. I mean, it sucks that Scott Roof got hurt, but even with Scott Roof, I was pretty confident going into the series. Like if you just match up centers, which as we've kind of realized, the centers drive the play. Scott Roof versus Evan Toporowski isn't terribly close, and then compare Talifer versus any one of my other secondary centers. It's not terribly close, and Huckins has Huckins as physicals have dropped significantly, sub 7 ABR. Like it's unfortunate that Huckins is probably no longer this is probably his last year, right? And he's their 2C. Like
Well, he's signed till 2041, so maybe not.
he's a Utica Comet next year, I feel like, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh
I mean,
or no, Syracuse
I
Crunch,
find
my
that
mistake. Right, but yeah.
it's very rare to see someone go into a new season with like six like level physicals like that. That kind of like is the end usually. um I don't know for sure, but like he hasn't announced his retirement
Retirement,
or anything,
yeah.
but I wouldn't be surprised if he's done. How old is he? He is 30. He's
35.
only 35, but he must have like pretty low like natural fitness or something. And yeah, I don't know if he'll be back. Just because, yeah, I don't. You just never see someone start the season with lower physicals than that, really.
Like I feel bad having LeBlanc as a middle six winger. Uh, with an 8'10" physical acceleration speed. I can't like imagine having a six, what was it, 6'7" 2C. Like
Right.
C's matter with their speed a lot more. I feel like
Man,
so. It sucks
LeBlanc
that
really
Roof.
fell off.
Yeah, LeBlanc really fell off, right? Which is why I have him as a mid-6 winger. But like Huckins as a 35-year-old 2C with sub 7 speed physicals, that's pretty rough. It sucks for Lucas here that he anticipated building up his decor and whatever, but that's you got to fix your centers, which is a really hard tell to fix.
I know you say
Um,
centers drive play, but I think Jamie Sanvito has a lot to contribute to the success of the team. I feel like he's consistently been one of the best defensemen over the last few years.
The San Vito for Norris for the third year in a row. He has 27 goals. Everyone vote San Vito for Norris, please. I am not
has he
biased
won 2
at
in a
all.
row?
He hasn't won a Norris yet.
Okay.
He's legitimately been like, I want to say second in the Norris every single year. This year, 27 goals, 805 AVR. Everyone vote San Vito for Norris, please.
You probably have
Yeah,
the data on this, but I think he's led the league in shots like the last 4 years or so.
It might be more than that, but yeah, it's pretty close. The buddy
He's
shoots the
become
puck
a beast.
a shit ton.
Yeah. Do you think his teammates like hate him for it? They're just like, come on, man, just
Just
like
pass.
one of these times pass.
He's currently unhappy with his practice regime because I'm currently trying to make him a wing. I'm trying to make him a winger.
I was gonna say you must be doing something like that, but I like he's like when they bring in like a new coach and he's like hard on like Corsi, like just whatever, shoot it at the net every time you get a chance. Like everybody else is like, this coach is insane, and he's like, no, let's do it.
Let's do it. Shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Like I like
On board.
imagine if he played in a spot where like he could actually score when he shoots the puck. Like not at the
This
point.
is actually his highest. This is his highest shot on goal total this the first season this year.
It's also
Ever.
his highest goal total. Maybe it's correlated at all. Look at that.
Well, he's going up by a goal every year now. So
25, 26, 27. Yeah. So
but he had he had a lot of few. Well, I mean, no, only 8 fewer assists than last year, but yeah.
but
I'm a strong believer that like the offense, like you can't have a good offense without like good offensive D moving the puck up like a lot. I think it makes a huge difference. So yeah, San Diego, yeah.
Do you think that kind of number 1D is more important than having like a strong center core?
I take a center core
No.
before a defensive core, but I would take a defensive core over a winger core. Like you can get some random plug to be with like a 16-16 shot to play with a really good playmaking center. I don't necessarily think you can do that with a defenseman that shoots the puck or passes the puck a lot.
No, that's true.
I just try to get good players.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, and like finding ways to use them. But I definitely like whenever like I say take a like look at my D and think, oh, I need to get stronger defensively. It's like always with a great or like grain, or I have to like really consider that, because I know that like even just taking out one offensive D and replacing with the defensive D have a big effect on the offensive efficiency. So that's kind of like something I keep an eye on really closely. And I also don't actually love having a D who shoot a lot. I'd rather have them be like pass, like prefer or have a pass preference. I usually only have like maybe one D on my team who prefers to shoot because I just find that it kind of slows down the team. Like that's what I find. I find the forwards, like the offense is less explosive if like your D are shooting a lot. That's what I've seen.
All right, so out of the four of us, because we lost Misty, Montreal, Tampa. I understand it's 2-0, but who we taking?
Montreal.
Montreal. I mean, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
vote.
don't.
Take
I'm gonna vote
I-
for my own team. Sorry, Lucas, but
what?
No,
I will
I
take
mean, I think Lucas has done a good job of like kind of like taking a team that wasn't necessarily in a great position when he picked it, when he grabbed them, but like making the most of it and making it into a team that's pretty good. But I don't think I don't think they're a contender level. So yeah.
if Tampa's in the Metro, I take Tampa out of the West. I think
Oh,
it's pretty
sure.
sucks for the Atlantic is the Atlantic.
Yeah, Tampa, they need. I mean, they need to win now, so it doesn't look good this year. But yeah, they need to add for next year's because their team is pretty old. They all like almost all 30 plus. So yeah. So good luck with that, Lucas. Have fun.
All right, so
Yeah,
let's.
maybe they'll be better with that bad than no.
I think it's
Yeah.
about time to swap to the Metro Division and the last division of this playoff preview. The Washington Capitals versus the Atlantic Detroit Red Wings. Currently a 1-1 series. I want to say that the Red Wings outperformed the Capitals in the regular season, right? Yeah,
Did
the
they?
Red Wings had 115. The Capitals had 130.
Right. That's funny. Um,
15. Oh, it's pretty close.
It's pretty close, but yeah, it's the Gary Bettman NHL standings are a thing.
yeah.
They,
um,
they are a thing.
so I don't know that like this series like looks close so far. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't really have a strong sense of who I guess like Washington's kind of outplayed them both games, but that's like kind of typical for Dubois to carry things. Um, I
Mm,
don't know. I mean, I think Washington is the better team, but
yes.
Dubois is kind of an equalizer on that level. So, and Washington isn't dominant enough for that to not be a factor. I think either team could win here.
Washington made some big move this deadline. They added Betts, they added Matthews and Hughes. Um,
Yeah,
what they added also, yeah. That's it, but that's pretty big. Some
yeah.
big moves.
No, those are
So
significant. I mean, those guys are old, or some of them are old, but not bad. They're not bad players.
I mean, Hughes is still at 17 speed at 39 years old. So
And Matthews has 3 points in two playoff games,
I
so
feel like
he's
this
not
series
struggling.
mostly comes to Rybakov versus Dubois, honestly.
yes,
And Rybakov currently has a. Let me check notes. Who he got pulled in game 2A. He has an 846. Ouch.
Mhm.
I understand like 846 isn't going to be sustainable, but maybe like a 915,
Yeah,
920 for Rybakov is probably a decent prediction for what he's going to have in the rest of the series. But I'd still take Dubois over Rybakov by like a mile. I'm sorry, Cam, but
oh for sure. But I don't know. I
yeah,
just think Washington team is just better. Like defense and offense that they can overcome Dubois. Uh, I think that Dubois is really good, but I don't think he can uh, carry that much since he did the year they went to the finals. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give I think I'd give Washington the edge here because I just think their team is much stronger. But yeah, I think it's Dubois. Is it like I don't doubt that Dubois could win this series for Detroit,
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Um,
and it's Matthews going up against a team he went to the final with a couple years ago.
That's true.
when I did my analytics for like best player of the league, Gabriel Antel came up to be the most rounded player in the
Really?
NHL. Yeah, 67 points in 81 games. Antel was my Selkie pick. Um,
Oh, nice.
he didn't get the nom, but Gabriel Antel was my Selkie pick, and yeah, as I said, 67 points in 81 games. This with a 783 AVR. It's pretty solid on the Red Wings here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna, the analytics might help because I think we're pretty limited in our ability to actually assess players' defensive performance. Like all the metrics that we tend to use are pretty arbitrary and often,
Yes.
could say as many bad. It could say bad things about a player as much as they can say good things about a player. So, like, I tend to just like look at who has the most takeaways and then grab have a look at what their offensive production is. Like it's like it's a pretty stupid way of deciding who the best defensive forward is. But I just don't think there's much that unless you're watching the players very closely game by game and knowing how they're being used, it's really hard to evaluate from outside.
No, that's very fair. No, I completely understand that, but Cowan, Meyer, Matheson, like Ilya Meyer as your 2C is pretty rough, and I don't know who this Cowan guy is. I'm not gonna lie. I want to say Ethan Cowan,
Easton.
Easton Cowan, right? Easton Cowan 1C isn't 68 points in 70 games. I should correct myself there. Easton Cowan actually looks pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I guess I just
He's
haven't paying attention.
he he is like had a, he was on Colorado when I took them over. I traded him for Merzlikins, I think. At some point, he went to Tampa. Then he just didn't develop. He went to Europe for a while. He came back from Europe, played for Tampa. I think Grum signed him at some point, and he had a couple of good seasons there, and then ended up in Detroit. And
Yeah,
yeah,
this
he's
year
like
he
kind of
had
a late
a
bloomer, like we've seen.
yeah late bloomer. This year has a 743 AVR, basically a point a
Yeah.
game. Uh,
Grum
Yeah,
traded for him for like a third, if I remember, and then flipped him to Detroit for like a first. Uh,
yeah.
I remember he bragged about it in the chat. So
I mean, he's kind of like that. Yeah, he's kind of that like 20 goal, 40 assist type guy. I mean, he's actually not scoring 20 goals very often, but like maybe like 15, 45 kind of guy, which is like a good second line center to me, like or like a
yeah,
serviceable second line center. But yeah, I don't know if you want that to be your first line center. Um, I mean,
I
he was
feel
pretty close to
like
point per game this year.
I feel like Detroit centers are very similar to Tampa Bay. Like Roof and Cohen,
Yeah,
pretty similar. So yeah, I think it's kind of the same problem. They're good,
they're
but
like the poor man's version of a good player, right? Like it's just it's
yeah,
they're just not at the same caliber. They're kind of like they can score enough points to maybe look like a first line center for a season, but it's not the same once they start to actually face really good centers every
Real
night.
competition.
That's what I think. Yeah.
AVR wise, yeah, I understand AVR isn't the be all end all, simply because it's a flawed statistic. But AVR wise, for centers, he is currently 12th in the league, which
Yeah, pretty good.
That's between Ratiala and Chambers. So like you could do a lot worse as a 1C then, right?
I
Can't smite then.
I do like that Detroit like committed like uh, to my buddy Brian Van Horn, or has been like committed for a few seasons, and he's like had some decent seasons. I mean, actually, it's kind of up and down a little bit, but I don't know. I like this player has like turned into a solid scoring NHLer, and good
Oh my
on
god.
Rick for seeing that he could be that good.
Also, good on
Yeah.
Rick for scratching their captain for the playoffs. Damn, that takes some that takes some cojones.
Thomas.
That takes some serious cojones, to scratch your captain.
Is Babcock back in Detroit?
Babcock regen.
Babcock region. Who's their coach?
It's Chaumont.
Bobby Chaumont. Alrighty. From Sudbury, Ontario.
I mean, it's kind of. I think he was. Yeah, the name's familiar. I think he was a player. Maybe he played for the Marlies at some point. Um, in real life. But yeah, I'm surprised that they're scratching Thomas Novak. Like looks like a really good defensive player. I mean, he is a good defensive player, but because they feel like they need the offense.
Hey Rick, hire some scouts. You have like four. You have like four. Hire some scouts and some physios.
Oh wow, and two physios.
Oh, he has
He's
two?
missing.
No, he only has
Oh,
one.
man.
Yeah, he can hire
No,
two
I'm
more.
saying
Right.
he's got two slots. Can we just quickly talk about since we're Austin Matthews? Like, is he going to retire here after the season?
I hope
Because
not. I hope to sign
he's
him.
he's 14 goals away
would
from the
think
NHL,
so.
like a Pasternak's record. And yeah, I mean, there's no reason he can't do it next year.
No, yeah, 8-9. His physicals aren't the worst. I mean, like playing him at wing, he could totally do it. He's playing C this year.
Is it good to have 20 technical at every single category?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know.
Probably not. It's kind of crazy that Pasternak ended at 8.99. Come on.
One more goal. All right. So I guess we're on. I guess we are on our. I should ask for picks. Washington, Detroit. Who we taking?
Washington.
Washington probably takes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also feel like Washington is the team to be is the better team here. So.
For the sake of being different, I guess I'll take the Red Wings. I mean, it's such a toss-up for me. I'll take the Red Wings.
Yeah.
For the sake of being
for the sake of being different. Right. All right. The last series we'll talk about tonight here, the Penguins versus the Flyers. Currently 1-1. The Flyers making the playoffs for the first time in I want to say forever. Did the Penguins ever win the cup? I know they made the cup final.
No.
Did they actually ever win it?
No.
No, eh?
They went to one final, I think, and Philly did win.
Back when
what's the cup in the second season?
Right.
Big cheat show.
Cheech, right?
Yeah. And this is got to be the maybe. I mean, I can't say for certain, but could well be the first time we've had the Battle of Pennsylvania in GGHL.
No, they played a couple years ago. I remember.
Really, I didn't think
Actually,
Philadelphia made the playoffs before this.
yeah, Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh like the first round, if I remember correctly.
Okay, huh?
Yeah. So revenge, maybe.
Uh,
Let's see how
uh,
I haven't been paying attention to this.
the Power BI desktop, the visualization I made, I have the Flyers at 59.5 and the Penguins at 67. So pretty close between the two of them.
Alright. Just wanna say, Jagger Creasy has 2 points in 2 games with 850 AVR. So Conn Smythe winner.
Conn Smythe, Jagger, Creasy. I mean, with a name like Jagger, like you gotta give it to Jagger,
Yeah,
right?
just for the name alone.
I guess you
And I
could.
mean,
I guess you could say he has the moves like Jagger.
No, I
oh,
won't.
the first thing that sticks out to me is like Sorotkins for Philly. Like he didn't look very like a playoff caliber goalie in the regular season. He went 26 and 18, but 85 save percentage and like 356 GAA. But he's played great so far in the 2 games of the playoffs. Like I don't know, like I don't know if this guy's like gonna be like I don't know if like he's obviously young. I don't know if he has the like capability of being an amazing goalie, but playing good so far. I mean, I really wouldn't be comfortable starting him in the playoffs. But
No.
but
I wouldn't be
yeah, working
either,
so far.
but he has the Zabornikov comp with on my scouts, which is Bob, right?
Yeah, and it is this is the Merzlikins regen. So
Oh,
he's
it's
not
Miz. Okay, so he'll
nobody,
be sick.
but I think he's mid con though. I don't think he's high con. So that's
I
kind
don't
of
see any.
yeah,
I don't see any big games either. So I don't know if
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
I mean the Flyers have obviously done a great job at like improving the roster over the last couple of years. And all their
Flashy.
young players stepping up and stuff. Yeah, Kovacic like looks great.
Oh
He
my
was.
god,
I mean,
yes.
I remember that draft, and that was like he was like my number one in that draft. I think there was a lot of different opinions about who should have gone number one in that draft, but this guy was like, oh, this is the guy I thought was the best, and he looks amazing right now. For a 23-year-old center.
Got passed down a lot. I remember.
And they did a good job at the trade deadline of adding some good players. So Garrett Millar, feel like there's a couple more.
Kovacic was
Podkolzin?
Kovacic was my breakout of the year. I want to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they had like Kunz also had his like best season by far.
Yeah.
90. He's never had more than 73-point season like many years ago. But 90 points all of a sudden, 44 goals. Yeah, and they just have like they
Piachi.
have good layered like they have just like a good like multi. It's not just like one line that's scoring. There's like a couple of good scoring lines there. So good job at getting this team like finally into like a position to like maybe take a playoff series, see what happens next. But like like their best years are probably ahead of them, and like in terms of like the
Mm-hmm.
forward core that they built. Like Brandon Farrell is another really good player that came through this year, 53 points in his, and I want to say his second full season in the NHL. I mean, really, he had only played 16 games. This is technically his rookie year. So, yeah, another really good player.
They have a
Yeah.
good blend of young and old. I guess you could call it Yold for the Flyers, where you have like Jack Eichel at like 42, still kind of killing it. You still have Timmy Johansson, Yegor Creasy, and their upper 30s
Hmm.
still doing solid. Shire still in it at 33, still doing
Uh,
pretty solid. Solid enough, right? Like, they may not necessarily be the, like, elite world burners like they were before their younger years, but um,
Hmm.
I mean,
solid enough.
Pierre Shear had his best season ever
Oh,
with
did he?
88 points.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
I'm kind
I
of
mean,
salty.
if yeah, because you sold
But,
them kind of like you feel like you sold them low now.
uh, well, not really, but like I wish he did that before.
You wish he
Uh,
scored. This
Right.
is his first year scoring 30 goals.
yeah, I don't know what happened.
I mean, I imagine you never really had him playing for like it was mostly second line center. Is that right?
Yeah,
What's he
I
playing
guess
now?
just
He's playing 2C here, too,
uh,
eh?
Yeah, but they have like two really good scoring units. Like there's a there's like 4 or 5 forwards who had their career seasons by far on this team
yeah.
this year. So I mean, in Eichel, like 62 points, 7.36 AVR
Poor
for like
guy.
a 42-year-old. Yeah, like yeah,
You could do a lot worse than having Bruno Kunz on your third line as a 90-point player.
Yeah,
Carson Christie, worst contract in the league, only 48 points, but uh,
yeah, they have like
yeah.
three great scoring lines, so I guess that's what helps boost the numbers. Like when the line they like is on the ice, like it can cycle through, and they're always dangerous.
Rod,
Yeah, I
to
mean,
go. Sorry, go for it, Os.
no, go ahead.
I was going to talk about the Penguins, so if you want to talk about the Flyers, go for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got to talk about the Penguins.
We do have to talk about the
I
Penguins.
guess.
Um, on the Penguins side, since it is a 1-1 series, honestly, Rodriguez had a little bit of a bounce back season. Like 912 isn't a lot, but the stats I was posting earlier was pretty high on Rodriguez for some reason. Maybe it's because he
Did
played 66 games, but they were pretty
his
high on
technical
Rodriguez.
grew?
What's up?
I feel like his technicals grew. Like it wasn't that good.
Maybe it's one of those things that
Yeah,
one of those things
yeah.
that takes away from the physicals and adds to the technicals.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah, that's probably what
what's
it
going
was
on there.
because like a 9 agility, I wouldn't anticipate that good out of a 9 agility, but like
No,
straight 20s on your techs is pretty sick. It's that you don't need much to determine that.
who who had this goaltending duel like of Rodrigue, like washed Rodrigue and like a young goalie who has never really ever been good. Like both of them have played great so far in the series. Um, that's not what
Oh,
I
buddy.
expected. um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm always hard on the Penguins. They're just, I don't know. It's mostly just like I never find that the decisions that get made would be the ones that I would ever make with the team that they have, and so I guess it's just kind of like I just have like a running disagreement with the approach, but I mean, it's still a good team. Um, I don't know, like they have a chance they have a chance to again to win like maybe a round or two here. I don't consider them a contender, but they're still here making the playoffs. Like probably like I don't know most of the last 10 years they've made the playoffs. So probably most of the last 15 to be honest.
Cup final that 1 year.
Well, they
Look,
miss
go for it.
a, a 3 years ago. They missed like 2 years in a
Yeah,
row.
right.
Uh, but like before that, they made it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Then now it's 3 years in a row. So like yeah, they
Yeah,
always been
most
pretty
of them.
good,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
they need like
this is one
uh,
of the team. This is one of the teams that like earliest like was able to actually bring some good players through during the dead years. Like they actually
mm,
found good players, and like it was actually hard to believe that because almost nobody was able to find those type of players, and they had a whole bunch of them. But it just, I mean, it just never seemed to be either the goalie would get hurt when it was what's his face Ottinger, or
yeah,
just the centers were never the right guys. You know, it was kind of like, oh, these all around guys and not the optimal like guys to get to like get them over the top.
yeah. It's starting to get late now. Their players are all in their late, like early 30s. Like so, yeah, they need to make a push soon. I
Right.
don't know what that looks like.
It's getting to shit or get off the pot. I mean, like
Yeah,
Morocco's getting old. It's weird
Yeah,
to think that Morocco's getting old, but Morocco is
right.
getting old. He's 32. Um, like didn't he?
500
Wasn't he
NHL
like?
goals.
Wasn't he like a NHL like a hard contender at one point forever ago? I want to say forever
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah, I think so. And he's like one of the we were looking at it maybe a season or two ago. Like I think he's like maybe the one, if not the highest scoring, like not real player, like game generated player
yes.
Game gen, eh?
in this league. So he's about 100 points away from 1,000,
Right.
and over 500 goals for his career, in just over 1,000 games. So
Hall of Fame.
yeah, I mean,
Probably a hockey Hall of Fame
I'm
player, but
yeah, I mean, I don't.
for the Penguins, you could do a lot worse than Dare Spacek DDP as your 1, 2, 3. But like, I wouldn't say Dare Spacek DDP is a Stanley Cup winner. Ideally, like honestly, if you were able to shift everyone down a line, like have Dare
Yeah,
be your 2 seed, Spacek be your 3 seed, and DDP be your 4 seed, that's ideal. But
Right.
it wouldn't like you're asking a lot there, right? Like I
You
get
just
that.
find that
So
elite 1C.
yeah.
just find the good players and snag them. You know, it's that
Can I?
simple. They
I
don't
mean,
have a
I'm not.
single point per game player actually in the regular season. Now that I look at it, it's legitimately like a bunch of 60s and 50s. Like even
Do we know if Sweller did he draft a lot of these guys? I know some of them were guys who got drafted by the Rangers and then like not signed to like early on, but like, but did like does he is he is he like drafting? I mean, or is it kind of just, I don't know. I don't really know the history if he picked these guys, or it's like did he take over the team and there was all a bunch of good players on it? I
No,
don't know.
a lot of the players
yeah,
are old, so like I don't know which ones are specifically Sweller were versus which ones were
Right,
Robo Ray, right? Because I think it was Robo Way that
right.
was in charge of the Penguins before. So like the line between the two is a little bit blurred for me personally, but to hold on to them because personally, like I would have sold them. Like I sold Zemer because of the very same reason. Because like, oh, he wasn't a my draft pick, he must suck, right? So,
Right.
like to hold on to them and not sell them, that's a props to Sweller there.
mm-hmm.
I mean, and this team has like some of the like the longest running core members of the team, like a lot, like you know, like Celine has been there forever. Kivi Luoma has been there forever.
Morocco has
I
been there
want to
a
Monash,
bit
say
there.
yeah.
Air has been there forever. Like Morocco, Blanchette, and there's a few other, like Mintikov. I only recently left, I think, and Millar just left in free agency last year. Like, or maybe in a trade just before free agency. But anyways, they had like the same maybe like 10 to 12 players that were the like core of their lineup there for a long time, and like nobody has that kind of like stability in their core of their team really. So yeah, I mean it's kind of it's like funny, like I don't know if he really likes those players or he just they always played well enough that there was no reason to get rid of them. But yeah, it's one of the more sort of stable teams in a league where there's a lot of movement.
No, that's pretty fair. All right, simply because it is 1:20 a.m. Eastern time. Pittsburgh versus Philly. Who we taking?
Oh man.
I mean, don't take Pittsburgh. I mean, I think Philly's coming up, but I can't see the goalie.
Holding
I can't
up
see the
this well,
goalie.
right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I was going to take the Pittsburgh for the same reason, simply because like Pittsburgh has the experience, they have the goalie that has a track record. Like if Philly pulls it out, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. But I'm going to if I was a betting man, which I am, I put my money on Pittsburgh.
You know what? I'll take the Flyers just for my boy. Sheer, whatever.
Sheer, Eddie. How about
Yeah.
you? How about you, AC? I'm going to make you pick a pick.
And the best defenseman in the league, Jaeger Creasy. Come on, let's go, Conn Smythe.
Oh God.
My Noah Cates for Erwin Richard trade has been a big F in my favor.
Oof.
It was basically
Yeah.
1-for-1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty
AC,
bad.
Yeah.
AC, Pittsburgh, Philly. Who are you taking?
I say Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is kind of underrated. They got Miroshnichenko for pretty cheap at the deadline.
That's
I
true.
feel like
Mhm.
he still has it in him. I think he's definitely. I feel like he's one of those wingers that can be really good without like a elite center. Like he can carry a line on his own.
Yeah, got
No.
that dog in
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Got that
He
dog.
played 14 points in 15 games in the regular. Like once he got traded to Pittsburgh, so pretty good for. I mean, he's only 35, but he kind of seems like a guy that's going to fade a little earlier than some of the stars in the league have in the past. So, yeah.
Definitely a Hall of Famer when he retires.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, definitely. One-time Hart Trophy winner, and he has 1,003 points, just under point per game for his career.
Hells yeah. All right. So, since we've gone through all the predictions, all right, who's our West pick? I will take San Jose to just start off.
I take Calgary.
Same.
Yeah, Calgary's pretty solid.
All right.
Go
So,
wrong.
so three Calgary, one San Jose. Oh shit, we have Grum in here. I didn't even realize that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's muted. Whatever. He can deal with it. All right. So
Probably
yeah, we have three Calgarys, one San Jose. All right. How are we coming out of the East?
Oh, man,
I'm
that's tough.
I have my
it's,
pick,
yeah, go
right?
ahead.
So I'm not gonna choose against myself. So
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think Buffalo and Montreal seem destined to meet in the second round, and that to me is the two real contenders of the East right now. So, yeah, let me see. I've got to decide. Come back to me. I can't decide between those two.
all right, Mark, choose your Quebec brethren. Let's go.
Oh man, but you beat me so many times, man. I mean Buffalo too. To be fair.
Buffalo, that's
Uh,
fair. I don't hate that pick.
well, oh man, that's a hard one. I'll go with Montreal.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go with Buffalo. Like I would I used to always pick Montreal when they were the cup, the cup champs, and I'll respect the cup champs and say Buffalo pulls it out. But yeah, I don't really, honestly, I can't really see anyone else in the East being there. But I think it's gonna be one of those teams.
Drew, did you play Buffalo last year?
I did play Buffalo last year, and guess what? I got swept.
Ooh.
I
See,
won
I was
one
gonna say
game.
What do
Montreal.
you think happened in that series?
What do I think happened in that series? LeBlanc
Yeah.
and Asadorian both got injured, so I was playing Novak as my 1C.
Uh,
That good?
yeah,
That's not good.
not
That's
good.
not no bueno.
No bueno.
I feel like it might turn around for you this year, Drew. But
Oh.
Buffalo is pretty solid.
Buffalo's pretty solid.
Or Metro teams getting no love.
I mean, it's
Uh,
pretty, there's a lot of similarities between the East and West right now. Like to me, it's like two contenders in the same division, um,
yes.
and then like the other side is like, I don't know, whoever has the best goalie is gonna like maybe Dubois carries Detroit to the conference finals. But like I don't
Yeah,
really think
he did
any
it
of those
before.
really have a shot. Yeah, but I mean, it kind of feels like I mean, Detroit is the Dallas of the East, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I just have one wish? Can the Atlantic stop being so good?
I wish too, man. Oh shit, Jordan's in the general chat. I'm gonna move him down. I'm gonna ask him for the cup pick first.
Yeah.
Hey Jordan, I shifted you down to the admin chat. Welcome.
Thanks.
Guess what? We're just about finishing up. Sorry, I didn't see you earlier. Who's your cup pick, and who's your cup final pick? Putting you on the spot right away.
Buffalo's gonna make it probably.
You think
and,
Buffalo?
I
Okay.
think there's one team in the West. I think I don't know. They're maybe like Anaheim. I think Anaheim.
Maybe the Ducks. All right, you see,
Yeah,
all right,
Ducks,
Buffalo Ducks
Wow.
Stanley Cup final. Buffalo versus Ducks. Who's winning that one?
Oh well, Ducks in 4.
Ducks
easy.
in 4. Ducks in
Ducks
4.
in 4,
Easy.
yeah,
Okay,
Ducks in
cool,
4.
cool.
You heard it first. Place your
Caveat.
bets.
I'm gonna lose in 5 against San Jose. So it's gonna be San Jose, Buffalo, and Buffalo wins this year.
You think Buffalo? Okay, that's a fair pick. I don't hate that. Personally, I think Montreal, San Jose for obvious reasons, and I'm not going to pick against myself. So Montreal
Mhm.
beats Gus's San Jose Sharks.
Well, I would like to say like there was just that one blow up against for San Jose Anaheim 10-4, but I got Morant in the lineup this time. He's going to be playing 3C, so hopefully I can turn the fortunes, see a game, make it a best of 3, and we'll see. We'll find out what happens. Ray
Hells yeah.
Ryan can
Yeah,
not suck so
that
much.
game 2 result was pretty brutal. Like
It's
it was
really
a game
unfortunate.
that
Yeah.
Anaheim should
Yeah.
have won probably, but
Well, and not only that, but like that's how I played against them the whole season, right? And that was how I played them against them the first season. I think it's just game 3. Ryan got pulled. I think Ryan is kind of susceptible to like he'll play like he lets in 2 or 3 goals, and then he'll have like a game where he lets in a lot. And then Kuzman went in, and Kuzman's like not ready for the anything really.
For
Um,
anything.
Going 7-1-1 in the regular season. He's not really ready, so he just got lit up. And but I think we can have a bounce back game, and I think we can make it a best of 3.
Ouch.
He's
Kuzman
rocking
with
that
a
90.
90 goals against average and a 400 save percentage.
I called Perron up, so he's gonna make his postseason debut and mix up the lineup a little bit. Brought Nilsson up as well. Took out Dubois, who's been a real shitter for my team the whole fucking season. But anyways, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask everyone else who's their Stanley Cup final prediction, and then I'm gonna ask who's their cup pick. So I gave mine. Jordan gave his. The other three of you, I'm going to force you to make a cup final pick and a cup pick.
Oh man, putting us on the spot. All right, I'm gonna go with. So I said Montreal against Calgary. I'm gonna go with Calgary in 7 overtime. Just so that you suffer.
Just so I suffer Game 7 overtime. All right,
Yes.
I hate that result, but I love that result at the same time.
I mean, I think it's going to be Calgary, Buffalo, and I think Buffalo's going to repeat. Mostly, I think that Grum is on to something with his lineup construction. Like he's like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I think he's doing that like remind me of some of the stuff I was doing with the Avalanche, and then like adding onto it new layers of it that are getting even more efficiency and production. And like, to be honest, they're like, they're just not, they don't have any weaknesses, and I think they'll be really, really hard to knock off.
All right, AC, last one's you, buddy, and then we'll
It kind of looks
tie
like
up the
Calgary's cup to lose.
Calgary's cup to lose against who's coming
Eh.
out of the East?
I said Montreal before.
Montreal. Okay.
I think they still have one run left in them.
Again, I don't hate that as the general manager of the Canadiens. You know, making it to the Cup final or no.
So who's gonna win then?
Oh,
So
Calgary.
you're picking Calgary's? Okay.
Yeah, they have Gregory Buffalo and Makar Grubstov, both under 2 million. I feel like it's hard to not build a cup winning team around that.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's a huge advantage to have those like elite players that I mean that's the somebody was asking like how the Ducks won their cup in what 2008? No,
0607.
Too late. 2006.
0607, yeah.
Okay, like and like a big part of it like for me was like the whole NHL basically decided like we can have small players, and everybody kind of went maybe a little bit too far with that, and they were like, well, if you're gonna just like let us push you around, then we'll just make the toughest team in the league and we'll push you around.
And Brian Burke's
they also
words,
had like Corey Perry and pardon me?
In Brian Burke's words, you get some truculence in there.
Yeah. Some truculence, some
didn't they have Pronger?
They had Pronger and they had
Pronger and Niedermeyer.
And so Pronger had just come off taking, I think, Edmonton to the finals as well.
Yes, literally the year before.
So right. Gary Bettman can't let a Canadian team win, but as soon as Pronger was good, was in the U.S., he was able to really finally shine and show that he could actually just carry a team to that cup. Much like I think who was it, McInnes had done like maybe 10 seasons earlier with some other team.
I don't think McInnes ever won a cup actually. Like he played with the Flames and then he played with the Blues.
He won a Conn Smythe. He had I think he led the playoffs in scoring that year.
Well, the year the Flames won in '89.
Yeah.
Shit, man. All right.
Yeah.
Al McInnes was fucking unreal, I suppose. Then.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different player. I can't remember, but anyways.
But Al McInnes.
I was gonna say like the other part of it, the other part of the equation was that they had Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry playing like all stars when they were like in their second NHL season or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think maybe they had both played a little bit in their first year after the lockout, but like these guys were like just like they got like a star caliber first line just sort of gift like land in their lap.
Gifted to them, right?
So
I
yeah,
think one of the other things about
like
what is really interesting about that era is that how the defensemen were able to like abuse the system, and like a guy like Parmer who's just like huge and a fucking like kind of demon on the ice was able to just like scare the, I don't know if scare is the right word, but like have such an impression on their team and like take so much away from their team. I think that's
Fair.
really cool.
No, that's very fair. Like, Press Pronger was known for, breaking people's spines. And another
right.
person on their ELC contract that I honestly feel is very underrated in that cup run, Andy
Dustin
McDonald.
Penner. Oh right, yeah. I
Andy
was gonna say
McDonald
Dustin
was their
Penner.
Dustin Penner
But
too, right? Because Dustin Penner led to the whole Brian Burke and whoever the GM of the Edmonton Oilers
Kevin
not
Lowe.
talking, Kevin Lowe, right? Not talking to each other and trying to get into a literal fist fight over that. But Andy McDonald was rocking 2C for that Duck squad on
I
his
mean,
ELC.
Solani was on that team too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
I'm trying
another
to think.
thing.
It was yeah. It was McDonald, Solani, and I can't remember who was playing on their first
Was it
line.
Rob Niedermeyer? It might have been Rob
I
Niedermeyer.
Robin
I
Scott.
think he was a lower lineup player,
Okay.
but yeah. Anyway, I don't know off the top of my head.
I want to say I had Morant pausing on a 15.75 million offer with a $250,000 signing bonus.
Wait, did he reject that?
So when I say pausing, I mean it's when you send an offer to a player and instead of them instantly rejecting, they do not uh, do that and they let it
On
kind of hang for a few sims, and that tends to, in my opinion, kind of, I don't know.
like they're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it. Yeah, it kind of like says that they're thinking about it, and it also kind of says that they're willing to sign at some point for some figure. So we'll see.
And that was for 1 year.
That's 1 year. Yeah.
You see, I'm gonna get if
Yo,
Morant
yo,
leave
here.
goes to UFA, I'm gonna give him LeBlanc's money, legitimately. Like
Well,
LeBlanc's to UFA, and if Morant gets to UFA, I'm giving him LeBlanc's money. Full stop.
Would that even be enough?
14
Probably
million?
not.
I don't know.
Probably not.
He
That
signed for what,
argument-
11 this last offseason? Maybe
Well,
not.
I don't want to spill the beans here, but someone's going to be offering him $16 million.
Yeah.
All right.
And not only are they
Um,
going to, but they already have.
They already have. Fair.
the guy who was playing on the first line was Chris Kunitz, on
Oh my
on
God.
for Anaheim with Solani and McDonald.
Oh, right. How many cups did
Anyway.
Kunitz win? I know he won the 2 with the Penguins.
I mean,
Did he win
yeah,
one with
I think-
Tampa Bay? Because I know he played Tampa Bay in a season. Did he win one
Or
with
was it the
Tampa?
Blues?
Was it
he
the
played
Blues?
for Tampa in 17-18, so
No.
that was too early.
Too early.
And then he played for Chicago for one more season in 18-19. So I mean, I think it's just those 3 cups.
Only 3 cups. As a diehard
And-
Leaf fan,
and
only
and
3 cups.
and an Olympic gold medal.
Oh no! And
He
an
had,
Olympic.
didn't he have like? Did he have a hat trick? Maybe it was just 2 in the final against who
Sweden.
was that? Who did they
Sweden.
play in the final that year?
In 2014, it was Sweden.
Sweden against.
Yeah, it was
Sochi?
Sweden without Backstrom because he got banned for using Sudafed, and it was out with Zetterberg got hurt. Like Sweden was super weak that year because of a bunch of bullshit. I'm not gonna lie, but they didn't bring Hedman that year either, which was really weird. Imagine taking
Canada
Team Sweden
kind of rolled through that
yeah.
tournament.
Carey Price is Carey Price.
I think
too.
they had a little bit of trouble. Like I feel like maybe like Latvia just like gave them was it I can't remember exactly. But
Christos
Latvia, there was one team
Gudlevskis
close.
gave Latvia a what 1-0 win in Sweden and like Canada's favor. It was like a 2-1 or something like that.
If you guys want to have a little power about goalies, I think Aiden Hill's Stanley Cup win is quite interesting, especially. I don't know. He's like no one, right? It's like, how did Vegas do that? They just put in Shishel. Whatever his name.
Right.
I don't. I mean, in real life, I like my opinions about goalies are like vastly different. Which is like I believe like there's like 3 to 5 goalies at any time that actually are like a big difference maker for you, and otherwise like you should just not pay any of them because they are so wildly inconsistent. You might as well just put the money in making your team like as strong as possible and just put like just ride a hot hand, sign a couple goalies for like $1 million and just whoever's playing better.
Are you saying goalies are voodoo?
It's just because exactly, goalies are voodoo. Like, I mean, sometimes there's a guy who's just like objectively playing like really consistently far above everybody else, but it's never more than a few at a time.
That's
So
pretty fair.
yeah, here's how I would set it up if I was the GM. Every year I would have an open tryout. You got 2 $1 million contracts, and whoever can try out, and we're going to go with whoever's playing the best, and then all the rest of the cap money is going into making the team better, not worrying about the goalie voodoo stuff. Yeah.
All right, Eric. Before I stop the recording, any closing remarks on the GGHL playoff preview? Or do we want to talk about any of the non-playoff teams, or like does AC
the only
Mark?
I'd like to publicly thank Grum for rigging the lottery for me.
I'd like to publicly curse Grum for not rigging the lottery for me. So, and I hope Fulton is a bust. There you go.
Wow.
No.
I mean, I was just gonna say like we could. I don't know. We go over some awards, or we could just end it.
Oh yeah, we could go over some awards right quick. I mean, it is like almost 2 a.m., so there is that for me. But sleep is for the weak.
Me too.
Who do we have for the heart? We can. This is there's 8 awards, right? So it shouldn't last terribly long, right? So, who do we have for the heart? It's the between Aries, McDonough, and Buffalo. I voted Aries. All 3 of them, I feel, are very worthy candidates.
Yeah, I mean, I think I go in with McDonough. I don't know. The guy just is unstoppable. So I feel like both of those other guys are good, but I don't know. I'm McDonough just seems like he's deserved it for many years. Like he's just always playing so consistently high end.
I don't think there's a clear winner this year compared to other years, where Milmore just carried everything. But I voted for McDonough. I think he can carry any line he want, and he's definitely Buffalo most valuable player. So yeah, voted for him.
I went McDonough as well. I think Buffalo would be the runner-up, though. It's pretty close.
Yeah. Pretty great.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Selkie, I think I know where Jordan voted on this one.
I actually haven't voted at all.
I voted Patrick Potter as well. Bronson Ride for Patrick Potter. Bronson Ride for Patrick Potter, our first multiple seconds.
Oh my god.
Such a fleecing. Fuck, man.
Do you guys know what I got Bronson Ride for? If you guys want to find something, if you guys want to look at something funny, look at what I got Bronson Ride for.
Fucking, and
I
I try to give you I try to
Okay.
give you your shot instead of a Patrick Potter. Like, both ways, it would have fucked me. Man.
Did anyone find
I
it?
mean, you won 2 cups and
Not
went
with
to
Bronson Ride.
3 other finals.
Not with Bronson Ride.
I mean, just like that was the result.
That's
So
true.
you don't worry about it too much. But I mean, I really like Patrick Potter, and I like that. I feel like this is kind of like how the Selkie works in real life, where like you have to be nominated for like a few years before you can win one. Like they there's just like it's like a club of like
Wait,
guys who get nominated over and over again. And like Patrick Potter, like I don't know if he got. I tried to put him like he was always my vote for the last couple of years as the Selkie and winner, but I don't know. I don't think he's gotten it. He got nominated last year, and he did not the year before. It looks like, but yeah, no, I think it's his year, and he's been really good for a few years now. So yeah, I like Potter.
That
so
makes
I
sense.
traded Blessing for Ride. I think it was Blessing and a first for Ride.
Oh yeah,
Was
And
it
I think
that? No,
Blessing.
I don't. I think it was the Alfano trade, right? Like it was like so. You and Logan
No,
swapped
no, no,
teams.
no, absolutely
no,
not.
no.
Way before. So the Carolina had
Yeah.
Ride,
Carolina
and
had
Right.
Ride.
yeah, Carolina had Ride, and I had Blessing, and I traded.
He
I think it was
drafted
Blessing and a
Bride.
first. Pretty sure it was Blessing and a
Two
Well,
first.
first.
this was during the
Blessing and two first.
time where like Alex was
Yeah.
collecting like defensive forwards, and so he made that. I assume that's why the only reason he would make that trade.
Oh, so you're
Well,
talking about your time with St. Louis, not your time
yeah.
with
So the
Anaheim.
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what he is. Yeah,
the
Gotcha.
reason
yeah.
Blessing is good is because he I had him on left wing and then someone says like saying like, oh, you should try him out on defense. So I'm like, okay, try him on defense. And he was actually like a really good right D. And then I trained him on right D and he's playable. He's like very serviceable top four right D defensive style kind of thing. There's a spot in the top six at least. Um, yeah. But yeah, I think Potter is really good. I would like to move him around more, but I haven't had a team that has been made me able to move him around the lineup because I've had to just focus on like either staying above the ratio or trying to actually make the playoffs like I did this season.
Yeah, Potter's ideally a 3C, but like moving to a 2C simply because of all of his defensive acumen. But I
Well,
mean,
he's made
like
his
as currently as a 1C, 60 what was it, 64 points in full season isn't bad at all. Like
I
there's
don't
nothing to sneer at, right?
like I don't think he is a 3C though. Like that's the thing. Like who okay, so he's in the top 25 in points of centers, right?
62 points in 82 games. Yeah, it's like that's good,
So
but like that's not
so
elite, right? Like that's below a point a game for a
He's also
center.
not playing with elite players. Like he's
True.
playing
That's
with
very
a
true,
young
right?
player, Sweden, and just like I mean, up till now it was like kind of wire kind of guys
Ooh,
that
Sweden's looks pretty sick. I'm
that
not gonna lie. 40 goals, like
but
sorry.
Sweden looks really sick.
Yeah, yeah,
but I just
but
mean
he's just like he's also a growing player. Yeah.
I think I kind of have a different opinion because if he's top 25C, there's only how many teams are in the league? 30,
there's
right?
30 teams in the league. Yeah,
Okay, so if there's 30 teams in the league,
he's a
if
1C and by that definition. But like on a
yes,
Stanley
so
Cup
that's
winning team, I would put him at 2 or 3. Right?
My
yeah, I don't disagree
my
with you.
opinion is he's kind of I to me he's like a break the mold kind of player. You can't think of him the way you think of like other centers because you can just put him at first line center and he will dominate everybody he plays against. It might not be like dominating in the way that he's like putting up like 80 or 90 points or like, but he
That's
will
true.
like
He'll
he
be solid
destroys them
enough defensively.
defensively.
Right.
Yeah, and like he's gonna win those matchups against almost anybody. So I kind of think like you can just use him as a normal like number one center,
Kind of like an
ideally
Aaron
you
Curry, I guess. Right. I got you. Okay.
yeah, you just kind of like throw like a playmaker and a goal scorer on each side of him, and it works. Yeah, it's you know what? It's kind of like I mean I think the best comparison is like Bergeron. Like for a while, people thought him as a checking or defensive center, but then he's just good at hockey, and like he can be the first line center and on like the best line in the league if that's the position you put him in. So I don't know. I think that's like I think he's just that good, but like a little bit different than what we're used to from like an all-around center.
All right. Norris is next. I guess you guys can guess who I voted for Norris. Almost 30 goal defenseman Jamie Sanvito, who I voted for Norris. But
I'm with you there.
hey, look at that,
I
AC.
think we're the only ones.
We are the only ones that vote for almost 30 top goal scoring defenseman by a wide margin, I should say. Again for the fourth consecutive season, I want to say wide margined defensive goal leader, but I understand why others might not necessarily go for a 30 goal defenseman and go for instead a 7 goal defenseman, but to each his own.
All
Did
right.
Mike Green ever win the
Yes, he won the
Norris?
Norris.
Maybe he won one
He won the Norris
when
the
he
year he
scored
scored
30.
30. Yep, when he scored 30, he won the Norris.
Okay, well then, when Sanvito scores 30, we'll
When Sanvito scores 30, he'll get the Norris. I mean, it's kind of is he is kind of
there you
six
go.
defensively as well, but unlike Mike Green, but to each his own.
I voted for Turek. I mean, I don't know. He just like
Highest
look,
AVR? No, he's not the highest
he's just like
AVR.
a dominant. Yeah,
He's not
he's
the
just
highest
like
AVR.
good
Yeah.
at pretty much everything you need a defenseman to be good at, and he was also the highest scoring defenseman, I think, right? In
Most points.
So,
Yeah, a lot of them on the PP though. Not to take it away from him, but
yeah. I
You know
mean,
what? You
and
it's
I
video.
felt like Nemec, Sanvito, and there was like two other guys that I had in there, and I think they're all really good options. Hamara, and there was one more. I can't think of who, but yeah, I thought there was like some really good candidates this year.
I changed my mind. I voted for San Vito. There you go.
yeah.
I see someone.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at my convincing.
uh,
I think
Vesna.
we're on the. Oh, call it. Yeah.
We good on Norris? Or we want to shift to Vesna, or does anyone have any comments on Norris? I'll take the silence as
No,
a
I think
no. Right. All right. Vesna. I voted Dubois.
same.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I
It's
said,
pretty
there's not
impressive
a
what
lot
he does
separating
every
these
year.
three. It's just, yeah, he just did it on a better team, or a worse, like a far worse team than the other candidates. So I'll give him the nod because of that.
No one voted Poikinen.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, Chris, I kind of expected you to vote Poikinen simply because he was your guy for so long. But
Yeah,
fully respect you
yeah.
not voting your guy. You legitimately fully respect that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel detached from him at this point. It's like I we both went away from the same team. It's not like one of us stayed. So, yeah.
Calder is a clean sweep, so I don't think we really need to talk about it. Way to go, Shroom, on selecting Grebstov, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just gonna say like there was some other good rookie candidates. I didn't vote for Bobrov as the nominee. I think I gave it to Vervoort. I mean, Grum doesn't like to give centers or like people with low AVR like nominations, but I think Vervoort had a really good year, even if his ABR wasn't, was sub 7.
Yeah, even though he was like sub 7 AVR minus player, but he still scored 55 points in 75 games. His rookie center is pretty solid. My ballot when
Yeah.
I submitted was Grebstov with legitimately the Calder ballot when I sent him my 3. Like Bob Rov, I wanted to say faced the most amount of shots out of any goaltender this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which, welcome to the league. Here's all the shots and getting shelled every single season.
You're right. He did. He faced 2,596 shots, and the next closest was 2,380 shots. So quite a bit
It's like
more.
the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing. It's like 10,000 shots he has to face until he can be a good goalie.
Exactly.
One thing I like to talk about is I think Vervoort and Grebsov went 1-2 in the draft, and I think the
Right.
consensus
Yeah.
was among at least the inner circle of GMs that I kind of frequently talk to. It's like Grebsov was kind of ISS1 because, or not ISS1 rather, but the top pick
Number 1 pick.
because he just was all that. And Vervoort, while good, was low con and would likely kind of fall to a winger spot or potentially a 2-3C kind of role.
Yeah, it feels like Gripsov just will be like the better winger. So and Vervoot, like, I don't think he'll be able to play center. Well, I mean, he did this year, so he was all right. So I don't know, but so between the two, I think the easy choice is the winger with icon and big games, I guess.
Does he have high con too?
He
Yeah, he
does.
does.
Oh my god, that's sick. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that Calgary got lucked out on Buffalo and then got Grevsov like the following year is kind of like
Like
it's a
perfect
Yeah.
rebuild.
it's a disservice to everyone else. It's a disservice
Yeah,
to
I mean, he did a great job, but that's like some pretty good
yeah, that's luck.
chips falling
It's like
nicely for you.
it's like
Yeah.
gifting the number one pick to the least odds team, man. Like
I don't
You
know
just
what
have
kind of voodoo magic he worked, but pass maybe post some in the off topic or something.
There's like not that many. I'm finding there's not very many playmaking wingers that come through the draft. Like it's just not a popular or a common role that I'm seeing a lot. So I have like no playmaking wingers that I've drafted. So yeah, it's now that like I see how rare it is. It's like I think that's a pretty valuable player. So
Well, it's not
but
only
I
that,
mean
but PA
yeah
players take longer to develop too.
yeah yeah. I
not
mean to fill
Gripsov.
out yeah.
Not grab stuff.
Vervoort though, like just like where he was after 2 seasons of development and where he is now is like night and day. So like whatever, if he didn't win the Calder, like if you're Edmonton, you have to be pretty damn happy that he turned it around because it looked awful for like two seasons in junior where he was like still not like putting up any points and his apps weren't really developing and then all of a sudden last summer they went through the roof. So like that's a pretty good outcome if you're Edmonton, considering what it was probably like feeling like for a while there.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big opportunity that a lot of GMs miss out on is players develop or draft or like GMs draft guys that don't necessarily have the correct role to like develop really quickly or play well really quickly, or maybe is a player who isn't doing really well, and they don't really look for those players and don't try to kind of like steal them from the teams. Because sometimes you just team a player just needs like a change of scenery, and then they'll kind of like take off and kind of show what they have.
I definitely feel like there's more of a market when you're selling players for picks and not like targeting other people's prospects. So yeah, doesn't get used as often.
All right. So time for the made up awards. The Phoenix comeback player of the award. I voted Lopez on this one.
You're real to me.
They are real to us in GGHL. That is very true. I voted Lopez on this one simply because he was almost. I
Yes.
want to say he was almost sub 900 the last season.
I
This
think he was
year
902 or something. Like he brought his. I think he brought his save percentage up by 20 points.
Yes. It was 902, and this year he finished 923. So,
pretty
There
sick.
you
yeah,
go.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm. Capcheck was the only other person that I put as a nominee. I couldn't think of anybody, or I couldn't find anybody else. So, but yeah, Lopez was easy
Let me see.
choice.
My noms were Ty Nelson and Dragicevic of my team. Ty Nelson went from like
Yeah,
30 points to 50 points, and then Dragovic went from AHL plug for 5 years to a decent 2-3 pairing defenseman. But
Who did he play for?
Dragovic played for me, and then Ty Nelson. I want to say
Oh,
he
okay,
was
okay.
a Devil for
Rangers?
forever, but this last year he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Ty Nelson was a Calgary Flame, another Calgary Flame. Yeah, he went to 57 points this year, coming back from 30 points last season.
Okay, that's pretty good.
As a defenseman, it's pretty solid.
So, just before we get to the breakout player of the year, I want to kind of, you know, what is it? Retort this idea that Brown is not a Norris candidate.
Miller.
I put him on my ballot.
So
Same,
Nemec,
I did as well.
he's a second. He's a second, or he's tied with Nemec for highest AVR. He's got 2 less points than Nemec, 9 more points than San Vito.
Yeah.
And I feel he's also got 20 goals or 19 goals, right? I feel like
Miller
kinda
Brown
like-
was a third ballot for me too. He was third on my ballot. Yeah, but yeah, I don't hate the Miller Brown pick for Norris either.
19 is not 30
My-
goals, though, so
19's not
Yeah,
30
funny.
goals.
I
yeah.
guess is that Grum knew he was going to put him on the breakout, so he felt like he less pressure to
Yeah.
put him on the Norris. But like, yeah, I mean, I also felt strongly that he should have been in the
I'm just being a little bit
the three
facetious,
Norris
like, saying
nominees.
stuff.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I think I put him in over San Vito. I didn't have San Vito on my ballot. So
Rip.
yeah, no, I was,
Ooh.
and it's partly that like I actually didn't know that Miller Brown was this good. Like it was only when I was looking at these awards that I realized how great a season he had.
Well, since we're talking
Yeah,
about the breakout,
he's a stud.
none of my breakup my breakup votes made the vote. I voted Nylan Rodriguez of the Maple Leafs as my breakout. He was AHL last.
How did he?
He was AHL last
He had
year
a
and
good
had
season.
75 points this year.
That was that was an offer sheet.
That was an offer sheet.
Was
Yeah.
not matched. Not matched. Yeah, I didn't realize he had that great a season. But yeah, I had Miller, Brown, Kuntz, and Shear, Billy as well.
No.
No, those are all
Sure.
fair. Those are all fair picks. It kind of looks like Miller Brow's gonna win the breakout by like a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone here vote Bruno Kunz? No. Nope.
Did vote
Cool.
for him. Probably Philly.
Philly. It looks
Philly,
like
no.
no.
It was,
Gus and Golden Kid voted the Flyers Bruno Kunz, which I don't hate that. I think Kunz. I debated putting him on my ballot, but like I was like, well, he was a 70-point player and then he went to
Yeah.
90 points. Is that really a breakout, right? But
Right.
He's been pretty consistent, like 70, 60 point scorers. So.
Mostly around 60, other than the 173 point
I
Right.
season.
feel like
So
Right.
yeah, no, I mean, I think
I feel
Sorry.
like there's a player that I traded that ended up in Buffalo more. Lou Olivier
Luke
Moore.
Olivier Moore. Yeah.
Yeah, who I think
You
had
find yourself.
and so this is one of those things like it's kind of like the team that you play for, but he did
Yeah.
have a breakout season, so to speak.
how
I
many?
feel like this is a lot easier to find good candidates for than come back, just because of like you have to know how they did last year to really understand them,
Right.
like, or to like really evaluate that. You're just kind of guessing at guys that, but yeah,
Lou Olivier Moore, the reason why I didn't include him, he scored 40 goals this year, but he had less points this year than last year. Like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I just-
necessarily say that's a comeback when they
feel
did
like-
less offensively.
I feel like this just proves that he's real. Like putting up
For sure.
he's has. Yeah, I think he could easily. put
I
at least 30
legitimately
this season.
offered a first and a second from Moore 2 seasons ago,
Really?
and I got told
traded-
no.
So
So,
I think for
Me-
Addison and a second.
okay. I think my
Yeah,
the offer
Zeus.
I did for Asadorian and Lofgren, which was 3 first, I did to Chicago Misty for Moore and Thomason.
Just so you know, this
Um,
player is
Right.
not worth a first under any circumstances.
Well, I got told no, so
I mean, I think I don't have a problem with like if you're at the deadline and you need goal scoring, like, and it fits well on your
as like the
roster to
only
pay
guy.
a late first for it, but like, yeah, generally like in UFA you can find these guys. So yeah, I think like that's probably fine. Uh, like when you're a Stanley Cup contender, you're just kind of like whatever. I'm just gonna, and especially if you like won before, you can win. You're just like, I'm just gonna
picks
throw
are
everything at the wall
yeah
to try to
picks
win
are
again.
picks are whatever
Yeah.
at that point because like
Yeah, that's true.
the
Yeah.
odds that the 30th or 29th or 20th, whatever pick you want to call it, actually makes the NHL is like honestly pretty close to slim to none.
I feel like
I think it's getting better, but yeah.
what I'd say is like when people
No.
and I might start to do this more is when
Hello?
people trade for a player is ask a previous GM who had the player about what that player is like, because someone asked me about this guy, I could tell them a lot, but I don't know, every GM is different, so they might not keep
Mhm.
track of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But it could like really help other people like assessing the value of players when they're trying to determine
No,
whether or not they want.
that makes sense. Ask the league for previous players. All right, last award. Sus. We got clean sweep on McDermott.
Yeah, I mean, this one kind of like
I mean,
went
he's
under the
still
radar for
Wiggles.
me, like-
Unfortunately, still hasn't replaced McDermott
Yes.
yet on waivers. So he's been through
Yeah.
enough at this point. I get it. Like he's lost some key players on waivers, but
This guy bad? Why is
Was O'Brien? Did O'Brien sign anywhere?
we haven't Sem said.
Not yet.
Right. I think these were kind of like I like them. I voted for McDermott because, like, in retro, pretty funny. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Gegenshot, like, I didn't really pay attention to it at the time. The McDermott stuff. The Marlowe situation was kind of a unique one, but not actually that funny, I would say. And I was kind of worried it would just, like, Angus was already kind of like talking about, kind of like put him over the top. But like, for me, like, Gegenshot's pretty funny, just like his whole career, and so it's like a new thing in it. So I don't know. I think that's kind of like I voted for McDermott, but I could have easily voted for Gegenschutz, and I had one more, which was I can't even remember what it is now, but like one more that I had nominated, and I can't think of what it is. God damn it! And that was like my number one. Let me just find it. Anyway, go ahead. Somebody else talk.
I voted McDermott. Clear. It was pretty clear cut. McDermott for me.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh,
Gagan
Dave
shots.
Transit I liked.
Dave Transit. Okay. I get it because like
Just like a guy who's got a funny name and like just has bounced around the league a lot, and until suddenly he's good.
sounds about
yeah.
right. Like this year, Dave Transit's at a. Let me add some totals here. He's at 41 points in 51 games, which is absurd for a low con fourth line center. Right?
It was first line on the Panthers, man.
First line on the
Put some
Panthers.
respect on
Put
his
some
name.
respect on his name. I get you. And no, like the reason why I didn't
Well,
vote Gagan shots
for
is
me-
because. Sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, for me, the transit thing is funny because, like, I saw him growing in the same way these like late bloomers like Seiler and Novak and stuff have kind of grown, and I was like, maybe this is the type of guy that can do that. And he just like he played okay kind of for my terrible team, but it just never worked, and eventually I put him on waivers, and Mark picks him up, and guess what? Suddenly he's good. Like it was just like I've been waiting for this breakout to happen, and then it happened somewhere else. So
Wait, why is Gegenschutz good?
Was he good this year? I didn't think so. Like I just think Gagan shots is just a meme at
Yeah,
this
he's a
point.
908. Like he's already done that before.
He's fine, right? Like
And he's on Winnipeg.
It
They
was
always
just-
do. Winnipeg always does voodoo shit with like their team. So you
he's
know.
their
But
he's like
he-
the backup
it was more that
goalie, right?
he paid a lot for a goalie that like that contract is awful for Gegenschutz, and it still like goes for a while. And for some reason he paid decent assets for it. That was why it was funny to me.
It was a second
like
and a
this- I
third.
can't
So
bel-
like decent
Yeah.
assets, but not like I get
Okay. I mean, it's definitely like a contract
More than-
that has like
right.
negative
Well,
value pretty much. So
You know, a guy who's a backup who's also a 900 plus is really not that bad. Like to be honest.
but he's making like 4
He's
4
making
million.
like
0.5
4
million
plus.
per
Yeah,
million.
he's
Oh,
making.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
it's
Never
pretty.
mind. Never mind.
It's pretty shit for the contract. The reason why I didn't vote Gagan shots is
Yeah.
simply because like he's been such a meme for so long that it's in like all right,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of over it at this point. Right?
On the flip side,
Fair
a lot
enough.
of
You've been a meme enough.
UFA goalies have been getting overpaid because people just have a lot of space. So, you know, I don't know.
Maybe they could give me that space because like I would love that space, you know. Or maybe they give
Can
it to
they
the
give
stars, you know. Let's be real. After this latest buyout, right? All right. So yeah, those are the awards.
Is this
right?
Is
Go for it.
this LeBlanc's last year of that big contract? That
It
he's having
is
to?
LeBlanc's last year of that contract, which is why like I'm not gonna re-sign him on 13 mil. He's asking for an extension for like another 5 years, and like sorry, boss.
Wow.
Right? Like I offered him 6-7 for 3 more, and he told me no, which is why I'm like, all right, deuces, buddy. You know, like I love you for like like vibes and stuff, but like I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he's been playing
no
winger.
sunset.
He played winger this year, right? Like almost exclusively winger this year, and like he was a pretty solid winger, just not 13 million winger. Like I want to say he had like 55 points,
Yeah.
60 points this year. I think he had 20 something goals, which is his highest. I want to say as like a Canadian or something close to his highest. But
25 goals.
25 goals, right? Right.
Does anyone want to talk about Pankov? Ilya Pankov.
Well, I'm gonna go to bed, guys. Thanks for the pod, but I gotta get it.
Yeah, it is after 2 a.m. I'm gonna.
Talk to you guys later.
Deuces, buddy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All
Ilya
right, night,
Pankov,
guys.
6'9" AVR, 6.9. It's a nice number.
Nice.
He's also been
Nice.
traded twice in the last like 3 fucking days, and he's pretty bad.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks
man.
good, but like he doesn't do good.
Okay,
It's
but
fine.
look at his history though. He puts up between 20 and 40 points, like very likely 30 points.
What was he traded for? Like a third, though. That's the thing. Like if
Strother. Well, originally, yeah, he was traded for I think a second and a third or something like that.
let me take a look. Let me see. Oh no,
Like,
the trade
First time got
announcements.
traded, or
The most recent
That's-
time he got traded, it was for
2/3, I think. Right?
it
Third and a
was for a third, a fourth, and a fifth, and some guy.
Nothing.
So like almost nothing. Yeah, it's part of it's whatever at that point. Like
Yeah.
a third, a fourth, and a fifth. If any of them ever play more than 100 games in GGHL history, like I'd be very surprised.
Mostly, I know on my team play mostly on the fourth line, so like it's not bad. Like he's okay. He's a okay player.
All right.
So you guys are gonna close it up.
I'm going to close up the pod here simply because we've gone through the awards. We've gone through the playoff teams. Does anyone have any last minute comments before I stop the recording? And I'm going to head off to sleep
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. No words.
Alrighty. Well, thanks to everyone who stuck around for the past, check notes, 2.5 hours. Way to go. Look at that.
Awesome.
All right, thank you very much, and yeah, we'll hope to see next preseason preview. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Been a pleasure.
Hell yeah.
Like